everyone, and welcome back to I'm a Fan. I'm your host, Kimbra Eberly, and today I am so honored to have, I think, one of the hardest working people I know. She's an event coordinator and planner, a social media expert, a DJ, and a poet spoken word artist, which is how I got to know her initially. And most recently, along with Staten Island creative Kaden, she created a series called Sonic Muse, which is at the Hub this month coming up. So, hey, Daliah, a.k.a. Girl on the Rocks.
It's me.
I don't know. Did I miss anything?
No,
because
you
I
did
know
great.
that was like a big, long list.
It was a great list.
And thank you for carving out some time for us, because I know you're very busy.
Of course.
So I want to get right into it. There's a lot to cover, but I want to go back to when you started. Like, I know you you studied journalism in Kingsborough Community College.
Yes.
And I want to go back to there.
Oh boy.
Like,
okay,
how,
let's
you
go
know,
back.
and how, you came to know sort of what you want to do, where we're at now. But go back to there.
Absolutely. So I actually took college courses in high school.
Oh.
And they were through Kingsborough Community College. And I was supposed to go away to school, but life happened, as it always does,
Yeah.
And I decided to stay local. And I saw that they had this radio station there. Their journalism program was really high tech. And I talk a lot, you know what I mean? So I was like, this is definitely it for me. So I took journalism there. I loved all of my professors. They were so hands-on. And the campus was really fun. I was like away from home. I got to go to the city every day. So it was a really cool experience. Towards the end, I was a little frustrated. Not going to even put them on the spot. But college was definitely where I got to learn myself and what I will and will not tolerate as a person first, kind of.
Yeah.
And then going into the entertainment business.
It kind of builds you culturally because you get to see a lot.
Yeah, you see a lot. You realize that you're strong at some things that you didn't realize you were strong at, and you realize that you have weaknesses that you never even discovered.
Yeah, so you studied journalism, and some people change their degree midstream. So how did you come to be an event planner and social media expert? Like, how did you go from, because journalism is really hard, first of all.
Yes.
So how did you end up doing that switcheroo?
Absolutely. So when I was in high school, actually, I did a lot of video journalism. So being in front of the camera and being behind the camera and doing journalism a little bit differently than the normal traditional way was how I even started. So going and getting a story and seeing people's emotions and seeing their reaction to certain questions and things like that was really fun for me.
Yeah.
But behind all of that, my first job was at Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, no.
The worst.
Really? Chuck E. Cheese?
Best place ever.
I don't see you at all at Chuck E. Cheese,
Yeah,
but
that was
tell.
my absolute first job. I got that job maybe a week and a half after my 16th birthday.
Yeah.
And I was a party host.
Okay.
So that's really how I got into the whole entertainment world. On top of being a cheerleader, on top of being in the journalism squad, on the yearbook committee. So there was a lot of me being in front of people and wanting to perform. And I've always been that way.
Yeah.
So when I got the opportunity to work there and be a party host, I didn't realize how good I was at it. Until, people would be like, hey, make sure you put your party next to mine. And on weekends, I was coming home with maybe $1,000 in cash from tips. And I would have teachers from my schools book their kids' parties there. And it was just awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and this is all happening at 16, 17 years old.
Wow.
Going to college and just...
So why'd you leave Chuck E. Cheese if you were making tips like that? I would have stuck it out. Did the cheese get too much?
Absolutely no. Well, you know what it was? I actually moved to the other side of the island.
Oh, okay.
So I moved to the other side of the island, and it was kind of hard for me to go back and forth. So I ended up leaving there, and I started working at Party City. So it's everything party.
Yeah.
But then I was working at Party City. I was working at McDonald's. Both of those jobs. About to leave Chuck E. Cheese, so it would be 8 to 4 McDonald's, 5 to 9 Party City, Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday Chuck E. Cheese for a little while. So I was on my grind, you know what I mean? But then it became too much. It just became too much on top of going to school and everything. So it was a little, You know, and it was just, at this point, I'm 2 years in, I got promoted, I was hospitality expert, it was just a lot. And you just grow out of things. You learn that, all right, I'm just strenuating myself, you know what I'm saying? So eventually I just grew out of it. And it was hard to leave, you know? But then you got to think about all the times when you're sweating in the Chucky suit and you're just like, you know what? It's time.
So where did you leave to then?
So I actually lived in Port Richmond. I grew up in Port Richmond.
Yeah.
And I moved to New York. So we moved to the middle of Staten Island. And I was working at Party City and McDonald's, like I said.
Yeah.
And then I left McDonald's because that was horrible. And I started working at this kids party lounge. Mm-hmm. It's called Kids Lounge. I'm pretty sure it's still open today. Uh-huh. And it's a really awesome spot if anyone ever gets the chance to check it out. And it was a spa birthday party place.
Oh, wow.
For kids. So what we would do is the first half of the birthday party, I was doing hair, nails, and makeup. And then the second half, I would go downstairs and be the DJ. And that was like a spur of the moment situation.
Is that where you started out your DJ career?
That's where it happened. Wow. That's where it happened, right there in New York, right off
So
Highland.
You used their equipment?
Yes. Okay. So I came there my first day. So this is a really good one. So the first day I come there, and they already know, like, my resume says I come from Chuck E. Cheese. I'm very energetic, whatever the case may be. And it wasn't like a normal interview process. Yeah. It was kind of like, come in, do a party with us, and then if you're good, you stick around. If you're not, you go home, whatever.
Oh, okay.
Right? So I'm like, okay, cool. I can go down with that. And I come to this place, and all of the girls that work there, they're all in, like, the corners, just, like, supervising, but not really engaging with the kids. And the kids are just, like, standing there like, okay, this room is cool, but, like, what do we do? Yeah. You know? So I'm like, I go in the corner, I'm looking at one of the girls, and she's like just pressing buttons on the DJ controller, and I'm like, ooh, this looks cool. You know, and I'm like, oh, what does this button do? And what does this do? And she's like, yeah, just do this, do that. And so that same day, I'm like, you should play this song. And I go and I'm dancing with the kid. I'm literally breaking a sweat. Yeah. I'm like having so much fun. They're having so much fun. The parents are like, thank you so much. This was a great party. You're the greatest host that we've had here, blah, blah, blah. And the owner comes to me, he's like, listen, you know all the songs. Yeah. You know all the dances. The kids love you. I want you to kind of like take over this area. Mm-hmm. I'll show you the basics. You know, you play with a few buttons. You come in a little bit early. You stay a few minutes late after your shift. Do what you got to do. And I took it upon myself to go home and do some more research on my own. And it became history.
How long did you DJ there then?
I was there for maybe like a year and a half, 2 years as well.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah, I really loved it there. And it was close to home. So it was very easy to go. It was off the books. It was dope. It was a good time. I was making great friends. And it was convenient.
So when you left there and you liked that whole DJ thing, did you at that point say, hey, I want to be a DJ. I'm going out to get some DJ stuff so I can start doing that? Or how did you come to be an event planner? But also, you know, you were a spoken word artist too, because that's how I first saw you doing poetry. And I was like, who's this person? Yeah. So how did that all gel together?
It kind of like morphed in time, kind of. So I had left that job. And I took an internship at AOL in the city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I took a job at AOL in the city, and I was there for a little while. I was there for a year.
I had no clue they had AOL in the city.
Yeah,
wow.
So I worked for that company on this live streaming show called AOL Build. And I was an internship, so the contract was like a year and a half or something like that. So while I was there, I kept saying to my family, like, you know, I really want to do this DJ thing. This DJ thing could be really fun. Like, maybe I can make money, or this is going to be my DJ name, and I'm going to look into this equipment, and I'm going to look into that equipment. And then on my birthday, my parents had purchased almost half of all the equipment that I needed in order to get started. So it was a really good leap and dive in the right direction. Shout outs to my parents, who I love so much, who are super supportive. They come to almost all of my events if they can, and I really do appreciate that because it was a real good push in the right direction. So I was like, okay, I'm going to make this up to you. You know what I mean? And then obviously I had to put more money on other equipment things and keep building up. So while I'm doing this internship, on my days off, I'm going to places like Projectivity to do DJ workshops. Yeah. And so I'm the only girl at these events. I have my equipment. I know what BPMs are. They're doing the workshops. I'm answering all the questions. They're like, dude, like, you're a DJ.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so just like artists, just like painters, musicians, you have a lot of songs that you make in the beginning that you just hold near dear and you're just not ready to put it out there yet.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it was. I was practicing at home and practicing at these DJ workshops for a few months while I was doing this internship. But I just wasn't ready to really go out there.
You sort of got to build up until you're ready to present yourself in the world. And how did you come up with your name then? Because where did that come into play? Because I knew you as, like I said, a poet.
Yeah.
You had the name then.
Yes.
So how did that come about?
Yeah, so throughout this whole journey, me doing this internship, me doing these DJ workshops, I was outside doing a lot of networking because I just love being a creative in the community in general, right? Mm-hmm. And at this time, I am about to be 21. And right when I turn 21 is when I get to start going to the bars and get to start going to these events. So that's when I started going to these open mics over down at the Hop Shop, at the Craft House. And so one day I was preparing to go to the Table, which is an open mic over at the Hop Shop on a Sunday, and I was drinking some drinks. It was a margarita on the rocks. And I was pretty turned up, you know, and I'm thinking, I'm like, because I had a cool DJ name before that.
What was it? I can't wait to hear
I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Okay, it was DJ Kitsune.
What?
DJ Kitsune. So Kitsune is like a Japanese fox spirit that has 9 tails.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
that's interesting,
like,
though.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of different versions of it and all of these different anime shows and different theories and all of these religions and nationalities and cultures. But that's the name that I really liked. But then I thought it would be like a little controversial, you know what I mean? Like, as far as...
And maybe even hard to remember, because I just asked you, what was it, Kitsune?
Kitsune, exactly. Yeah. It's hard. So I'm like, no, it doesn't really roll off the tongue well. And so right before I'm about to go perform at one of these open mics, I'm like, girl on the rocks. Girl on the rocks. Girl on the rocks. You know?
Yeah, the drink in hand.
And then it just made sense. Yeah. And so when I went up and I said that, everybody was like, wow, that's a mouthful, but no one forgot it, you know? And then it kind of just stuck that way.
I think it's catchy.
Yeah.
Like, I really, you know, I
so
think
it was born in a bar.
Yeah.
Girl on the Rocks was born in a bar.
Hey.
But funny fact, my mom went into labor at a Christmas party at a bar the day before I was born.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of full circle.
So it's like that synergy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So let me talk about your poetry a little bit. Now, you haven't been around doing that for quite a while, but I wish you would come back and
I know,
do
you know,
it.
you're not the first person to tell me that. A few people have been telling me to come back. I'm like scared. You know, because I just like have some deep, dark poetry. Like my
but
poetry
that's what
was
it's all
always
about,
my escape,
though.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna try and come back. I'm gonna try and make him come back. Every once in a while I'll say a poem though. You know, like at some of my events I'll start it off with a poem and I'll be like, ooh. So maybe I'll come back. I don't know.
You should. You should. So, you know, you and I have chatted a lot about, you know, people and the creatives on Staten Island and stuff, and you know, besides being like an event planner or an event coordinator, really, I think you expressed to me what is really deep at the heart of why you became this.
Absolutely. So, for me, you know, being a minority woman, you know, that's one obstacle that is just like put onto me and I have no choice. I never got to choose if I wanted to deal with that or not. You know what I mean? So being raised in a household like that, you always have to put yourself above everybody. You always have to strive harder no matter what. So that's one obstacle that, you know, you just have to deal with. But coming from also a family of 2 people who had a child young and chose not to be statistics, you have a lot to prove and you have a lot to show for yourself. You know what I mean? My mother is a nurse and my father is a fireman. So
great combo.
Like, right? I know. It's like Wonder Woman and Superman. You know, they're awesome. And so when you come from a household like that, and also a family with a lot of military background and people who just, you know, that generation comes from security. Yeah. You know, so to be in a position where I went to college and was like, I want to be a journalist. They're like, where's the money in that, you know? And then I left school and was like, I want to be a DJ. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, you know? So I really wanted to be the person that people can look to when they want to just get that creative expression out and they don't know where to go. Because for so long, that was myself, you know? There's age restrictions, there's where you live restrictions, there's transportation restrictions, and then there's access restrictions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So a lot of the times, like I said, when I was going to these DJ workshops, I was the only girl there. So a lot of the times that could intimidate somebody to go into the room and just say, you know, screw it, I'm not going. Let me find something else to be good at. You know? And so I wanted to be that person who says, no, everybody is invited to my parties. There's going to be something for someone. There's going to be an area for the introverts. There's going to be an area for the extroverts. There's going to be an area for the people who like art. There's going to be an area for the people who like music. And there's going to be an area for the people who like food. There's going to be an area for the people who like to drink. There's going to be something for everybody so that everyone feels comfortable. So that was always my big thing. And also being a party girl, but being super sensitive, right? That's always been my thing. Like, I love to go and party, but I know how I like to plan, and I know my friends, and I know that I want to do more of something where you get an experience rather than just going somewhere and paying your money and not being able to say, oh, I did this there, and I met this person there, and I learned something there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to be able to bring that to people is what I do. And creating memories, like doing parties. I got booked for weddings, and when I do weddings, I get so nervous because it's like, you know, if I mess this up, you're going to remember this for the rest of your life.
Do you have to go through when you do a wedding, do you have to go through the traditional things like the garter belt and like all of that? Like when you're DJing,
so the few weddings that I have done, I've done 2 weddings, and I'm actually going to be doing my 3rd wedding next month, which I'm excited about. But the last 2 weddings I did were actually younger couples, so their weddings were actually a little unconventional, which was nice. That's better. You know, because I'm like, a wedding, that's a lot.
Yeah,
like,
the bride eats the cake.
It's too much. But the first wedding I actually did with my team, my company, all of my friends over at We Just Working. It was for Joey Patches and Clayco, which are great friends of mine. It was out in Brooklyn. We did their reception, which was in like this super cool warehouse garage in like Bushwick.
Nice.
It was so cool.
Nice.
We performed, and then I did a set for them, and it was just a dope time. I didn't realize it was a black and white party, and I came in a hot pink dress and a bright red wig.
Okay.
It was insane. But yeah,
so you were the girl. You know how they always point out the one.
So when I came there and I seen that, I was like, oh yeah, I got to really rock this set now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, just creating lifelong memories. I do a lot of intimate events, baby showers. I used to do a lot of birthday parties. And now that I'm at a place where I've done so many events and so many different events, I'm happy to say, and not that I'm bragging, that I get to choose.
Yeah.
What I want to do.
But that's the whole goal.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, you want to be comfortable with what you're doing and love
it.
And not put up with the stuff that you don't need to.
Yeah. And so that's really what I do it for. Yeah. Just to show people that you can, and you don't need to do anything by the rubric of how everything else has been done. Because look, we had a whole pandemic, and now nobody knows what the hell to do. You know?
I know.
So if you started unconventional, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at.
You have like a prolifera, I don't even know how to say this word, but you have like a lot of energy that you put out, and you can feel it oozing off you, you know, when you're around you. I mean, it's great. And that's what people need right now. They really need that positive, fun energy. So
I agree.
I want to talk to you real quick about Maker Park and your radio, I don't call it but the station.
Yes.
You have a spot. It's like every other Sunday, I believe.
Well, now it actually changed. I've been like my radio show at Maker Park. Forgive me, all of my supporters and listeners. I know I am all over the place, but I actually changed the schedule to the first Monday of every month. So it's actually going to be monthly now, just because my schedule has gotten so packed in the last few months.
Okay, so it's the first Monday of every month.
Yes, it's the first Monday of every month from 4 to 6.
4 to 6, okay.
At Maker Park, and it's called Simple Pleasures Radio.
Yeah.
And that show has honestly taken so many lives. It's like a cat. It has 9 lives at this point, because it started off as one thing, and now I don't even know. It's just a mosh posh of me talking shit and playing what I want to play.
Yeah,
and
that's good.
talking to my friends, you know.
No, that's good. That's good.
That's what it's turned into.
So that's sort of like your relaxation.
Yeah,
job.
my simple pleasure. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about We Just Working.
Yes.
Because you've been working with We Just Working for quite a while now. Yes. So tell us about what that's all about.
So We Just Working is an umbrella company. And basically what I like to tell people is we are a toolbox for creative success, right? So you would come to us with a really great idea, and then we would be the ones to help you bring resources to this great idea to bring it to life, right? So let's say someone wants to throw a festival. They don't know where they want to throw this festival. They don't know who's going to cook. They don't know who's going to be the DJ. They don't know who's going to perform. They don't know who's going to face paint. And they'll come to us and be like, hey, I really need help making this super successful, and I want to collaborate with this company and pull resources through your network. And so that's how we come together to really get all of the creatives that we know, so that people can get services from everyday people who really need it.
Is it like a referral service? Like if
and
somebody,
an agency almost as well, yeah.
Yeah, because if somebody comes in and says, hey, I want to do this, you say something like, well, I know musicians you can use over here.
Exactly. So we'll hire the musicians, and then they'll go through our company. And sometimes we'll even put together events for companies or other organizations, just like with Sonic Muse. We came up with that creation, and we knew that this was the perfect space to put it together, because the hub has been so action-packed this summer. And it's such a dope space. And now that we have the theater space, it was only right that we start creating something with some momentum. So I thought that the Sonic Muse would definitely be something to get the ball rolling and get more people inside.
Tell people about Sonic Muse, because that's your new creative project, and you've done with another Staten Island creative, Caden.
Yes.
Okay.
So he's a great friend of mine. He's like a brother to me, and he was actually one of the first artists that we had on We Just Working. His music is amazing. If you guys get a chance to please go listen to his music. We're thinking about this before the summer came, that we wanted to do a new event series that would highlight very great artists who are being consistent, who are out there putting themselves in performance spaces and doing their photo shoots and being consistent on social media and things like that. And also giving an opportunity for any of the underdogs who are trying to put themselves out here or are just looking to connect with other people. And, you know what I mean? So there's so many layers to it. So we want to do those two things. And we want to support local businesses. And we want to build an audience for the venue. So we took all 4 of those factors and created this event. And it's a little bit different than your traditional open mic. We have our vendors, we have drinks, we have food, we have clothing vendors sometimes, we have dessert vendors sometimes, we have 420 friendly vendors most of the time. And it's a really good scene for the hub and for We Just Working, because we had over 25 performers the last show.
Wow.
And we had 20 people sign up for the next one.
Wow.
We are actually working to create a playlist from all of the performers from this show, so that we can spread the word even more about what we have going on. Because we know so many people with different shows, just like I'm a Fan, the shows on Maker Park and other podcasts, we can also provide that service to our headliners. Like, hey, not only are we going to put together a show for you, not only are we going to expect almost 100 people, but we're going to promote your music and that you're going to be performing here on multiple platforms. We're going to create a social media campaign for you. So there's a lot that goes into it to kind of get it up and going. And I really needed a team, because I can do everything on my own in my head. You know?
And
And it needs other arms and other brains to work. It's just like raising a kid, you know what I mean? When you have a really great idea, you have to have a team to nurture it, because it takes a village to raise a child, right? And it takes a village to make a really great event, and it takes a village to keep businesses going. And we were thinking about all of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially right now where everyone is just looking for somewhere to go and looking for somewhere to go on a consistent basis. We wanted to start that back up because we have the second Saturdays here as well, which is also a really great time. You guys come over to our Halloween party. Look at this. I'm like a...
Yeah.
Plugging in, right?
Yeah.
But yes, everybody come through October 8th. But yes, so Sonic Muse has been really great. And honestly, if I'm being honest with you guys, I didn't know it was going to be as awesome as it has been. I always just put these ideas together and pray for the best.
It's like a crapshoot, really.
Yeah,
like,
and you know, with the pandemic happening, it's so much harder to like predict projections on these things.
Yeah, how did you maneuver through the pandemic? Because that had to be like...
I had met this awesome artist in Brooklyn named Goddess Venus. And she's a hip-hop artist from Brooklyn. We had decided to put together a concert out in Brooklyn. And it was scheduled to be in April. And March is when the pandemic happened.
Yeah, right then.
So we had this really awesome spot called the Silver Factory out in Brooklyn that we were going to do our show. We had a really cool lineup. I was going to bring artists from Staten Island. She was going to bring artists from Brooklyn to collaborate. It was called Return of the Martians. It was actually very successful, but it ended up happening in August, I believe we did it. And we had to push it back. We pushed it back three times. And then we finally did it. We were just like, you know what? Everybody's going to wear a mask if we have to. What we did was we got some stickers.
Oh, I think I remember that,
Yeah, we got stickers. I got... red, was it red? No, it wasn't red, white, and blue. It was green, yellow, and red. So green was, you can come towards me without a mask. I don't care. Yellow was, you can talk to me, but you got to have a mask on.
Oh, my God.
And red was, don't come over
I
here
thought that
without a mask.
was innovative. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't really work because everybody was just like, not wearing their mask.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening was every time the cops rolled by, we had them put their mask on. So the rule was everybody had to keep their mask like on their ear hanging. And then if anything happened, you just...
Oh, wow.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's what we had to do. We had, Kaden was actually at the door with the thermometer. I had to borrow Kenny's thermometer.
Yeah.
And we were scanning people, making sure nobody had a fever. It was a whole thing, but we ended up having a good time. And that was at the beginning of the pandemic. So I was like, okay, so good. I could still do things. Like the event was popping it. We had a whole bunch of people from Staten Island come out to Brooklyn, which I was so surprised about because you know how hard it is to get Staten Islanders to go anywhere.
And during a pandemic.
You know what I mean?
Crazy,
so it was maybe like 75% Staten Island that came out that night, which I was super happy about. The space was gorgeous. It all turned out really well. But then I got sick. And you guys, as you said, I'm a ball of energy. But for that time, it was not looking good.
Yeah.
It was not looking good. I was like mentally just like by noon of every day, just like sobbing because it's only day 3 and I have 14 more days to go.
And plus, it's probably really scary.
Yeah,
you know,
and just thinking about the anxiety of how many emails I was going to have after this and how much recovery time it was going to take and, you know, is anybody going to book me after this? And right before the pandemic got really bad, I had just made my first residential gig over at Joe Broadway's for Ladies' Night on Wednesday nights. I did 2 nights. And then the third night, I noticed that no one was dancing. And I'm like, all right, no. I'm a good DJ. You guys aren't going to do this to me. Like, you guys are going to dance, all right? Get up, you know? And the waitress is like, no, like, once they order their food, people aren't allowed to walk around the space.
Oh, because of the COVID.
Yeah, so it's like once you order your food, you're not. So I'm like, oh, okay, so it's not me. Oh, all right. I'm just making sure, you know, because I'm doing a good job, God damn it. You know, so.
It was weird then.
It was horrible.
Really weird.
And so everyone's used to being inside. So it was kind of good because then that's when I started hosting shows and doing live stream shows like I was doing here in the Hub. And it was fun. And I was doing Zoom parties, which was weird at first, but then I got used to it.
And it's so weird because, like, we did all the online stuff, and I even did the Grand Guignol, which was supposed to be live theater, turned them into independent films, and did that online.
Yeah, so all of our ideas
we found a way, but I felt
different.
like after the pandemic was kind of over and kind of cooling down, nobody wanted to come out. Everybody was still doing online stuff.
Yes.
And that's sort of where you came in because I think you're a real motivator in getting people out of their houses and, you know, coming out to do things and having fun. And look, it is what it is. You know, I truly believe that we've gone beyond the pandemic where it's called herd immunity.
Yeah.
So I think we're kind of there or close to it. I remember the first time I walked into a supermarket. I was just telling somebody, and I walked in there maskless.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was weird. It was
looking at you like, oh.
Yeah, but now it's like I feel
now it's kind of like if you have your mask, they're like, why you got a mask on?
Right, exactly. It's like the opposite. It's like so weird.
Yeah.
But I'm so thankful, and it's really hard to get people out, let alone after a pandemic. So I think you've been doing a tremendous job with that, and
it's been tough.
We're very thankful here to have you at the hub.
Thank you,
because you really do represent.
Yes.
And what's next for you? So you have been doing all of these great things, and I can't imagine what's in your brain, what's going in your brain, what are you going to do? What's coming up?
So right now, I am mainly just trying to focus on keeping all of these not all of these, but this event series going strong for the remainder of the year.
Yeah.
I know that what I usually do is I always take a break in January. January is like my reset month where I kind of just come up with new ideas of what I want to do for the first 6 months of the year.
Yeah, and I'll make sure not to host to book any. I forgot about the TV show, Raw.
We can do it. It's just that any other day.
No, but
I'll
I forgot to mention that too. You're our new host on Raw.
Yes, I am.
My God, I knew there was something I forgot. I knew I was missing something.
Yeah, I'm horrible for letting. We just have so much going on, you guys, that sometimes things slip,
Yeah.
It's a long list.
But Raw's a music show that I produce, and I brought Daliah on, and she's a great host, and we're having a lot of fun. You can see it on Staten Island Community Television on FiOS and Spectrum. In fact, we're doing a show this Thursday. We do it the third Thursday of every month, and then it airs.
It is
but anyway, I'm sorry I interrupted you, but I had to get that in.
And let me interrupt you now.
Oh, geez.
And say, shout out to you, Kim and Kenny. Just want to put out there, when you meet people who genuinely care about your better and greater good in this world, you have to make sure that you keep them so close. I met Kenny when I was 18, 17. I was doing a Mother's Day event upstairs. I actually still have the picture from that day on my old laptop.
So it was about 7 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I didn't even have, my setup was so horrible. I had wires all exposed, and it was horrible. But he was like, "You're good. Come back." I'm like, okay.
The man of few words.
I never left.
Yeah.
And just from then, he's always teaching me something new, or you're always teaching me something new, or giving me opportunities, and just putting me in rooms with people, or just bringing certain people here that I meet, and then I end up doing really cool opportunities with them. So I just want to give you guys your flowers, because yet again, here I am on another cool platform.
Yeah.
You and Kenny got me on TV. All right. Yeah. You guys got me in front of the camera. I was never a model before I came here. I was not really a seasoned DJ before I came here. I wasn't a media personality before I came here. I wasn't super duper comfortable the way that I am in front of certain people and in front of certain crowds and dealing with certain business aspects, without them. I call them when I need anything. If I need advice, they're the first people I call for the most part. And whenever I need help media-wise, they're the first people I call. Whenever I'm feeling lost personally, they're the first one I call. I've cried to both of them for hours on end. And it's just super important to have. And so I just appreciate this a lot.
All right. So you did pay it forward, and I'm paying it back to you. So it's it's a good day. It's a good day. We're crying. We're happy. We're, all that. So getting back to the goals, and I interrupted you. I'm sorry. Okay. We always end up getting sidetracked.
I know, it's so ridiculous.
Your goals. What is your wish, to achieve?
I have really broad goals. Before, I used to be really write down my goals every 6 months, 3 months, and lately I feel like because life has just taken on such a new way, and I have just been so busy being able to be what I want to be 100% of the time, it really has changed. So this is the first time I would even be asking myself that. And I really think right now.
So I did put you on the spot.
You did. But it's a good spot because it was something that I needed to say out loud for myself. But I think what I really just want to do is I want my life to be exactly what I'm making it seem like it is. That's my goal. And that might sound so simple, but that's really what it is. I don't want my life to be a lie. I want exactly what you see to be what you get. I want it to match. And I'm not saying that I want Girl on the Rocks to be Daliah and I want them to be two in the same and I don't ever want to be able to separate the two. But I just want it like the happy, go lucky, always got something going on, always learning and is working with the community and creatives and this and that. Everything that people see out there is exactly what I want to feel on the inside. I want to be happy to do those things all the time. I don't want it to ever become a burden because there were some times where I was like, yo, I don't want to do this DJing thing anymore.
Yeah.
It's becoming frustrating, and let's talk, it's a male-dominated industry. So there's been plenty of times where I was super uncomfortable or put in situations where you can't learn certain things at school.
Yeah.
You're not going to learn certain things by taking advice from people. You're only going to learn. And I was, this is funny. I told myself that I was going to say this sentence while I was in the shower getting ready for this.
Okay.
Quote me, y'all. Put this shit on a t-shirt. You only learn what you will not tolerate by going through it. I had to learn the things that I will not stand for by going through it and learning it the hard way. And in the heat of the moment, it sucks. I hate it. I feel horrible, And then you learn from it.
Yeah.
All right? So, like, for example, my first gig as a DJ, it was so whack, you guys. It was a monologue Monday for this, like, theater company, comedy company.
Okay.
In the city. They were going to pay me $50 to DJ, like, music in between acts. And it was big for me because it was on the Lower East Side. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
I went to the store. I bought a $100 outfit. Mind you, this was like 2 weeks before my 21st birthday. But the organizer never asked me how old I was. So I didn't think that it was such a big deal.
Yeah.
Lesson number 1. So I go to the city. I drag my grandparents with me so that they can help me with my equipment.
Yeah.
Mind you, DJ equipment is not light, people. Very heavy stuff, okay? 70, 80 pounds worth of stuff. I'm on trains, boats, buses,
Wow.
I get to where I'm at. And, I get in, everything's good. And now the bouncer's going around asking for IDs. And I'm like, everybody's is like horizontal. Mine is long ways. So I give him mine. He's like, yeah, like, you're not old enough to be here. And I'm like, I'm working. Like, I'm here to work. I don't want to drink. Like, I promise I won't touch anything. Like, I'm good. And he's like, yeah, like, no, like, we can't risk it. The precinct's down the street. And I go to the girl who organized it. I'm like, hey, like, so what happens now? Like, she's like, oh, well, I don't have enough money to pay for security. So I don't think I'm going to be able to do the whole DJ thing. And I'm like, so now what? I don't get paid or nothing. And she's like, yeah, well, listen, your birthday's in 2 weeks. So just give us a call when your birthday comes around and maybe we'll put this event together again and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, so you would be of age in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
and I was
ridiculous.
so mad. And,
yeah.
And in that moment, I felt so like, God damn.
And like the police aren't going to come in and raid
the place was super dark and the party was in the basement. So it wasn't, but anyway. So I was so pissed off and I sat outside and I cried for like 2 hours with my shades on my DJ equipment, pissed. Like, what website am I going to upload this shit on and sell it so I can get a car? Because this is dumb. I'm over it. I don't want to do this no more. And that same night, I got on a boat and I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to make a contract. And I'm going to get a deposit moving forward.
Yeah.
So that if this happens again, I'll take care of myself. And I'll make sure that if they decide to switch up on me and if they don't ask me certain questions by 2 weeks before that event, I'm not going.
Smart lady.
And from there, I had contracts.
Yeah.
And from there, I was like, let's do this shit
That's
officially.
good.
You know what I'm saying? So
Awesome.
and that was one of my first big lessons that I had learned in this whole thing. And it was really super frustrating. And, you know, just going back home and carrying all of this stuff and just thinking about it. I was just
Well, don't
like,
they make DJ equipment smaller now? Like it's all hard drive and stuff, so you don't have to carry the
it
big
is
and
pretty
bulky.
small, but
Like,
even like
it's changed.
yeah,
though, right?
but my controller, like I have a big case for it,
oh,
and the case like is very heavy because it's so compact and keeps it
Yeah.
safe. So that one case, even if you take the controller out, the case itself is like 50 pounds.
You would think they'd change that shit.
Yeah,
You know,
so-
with all the modern technology they
I mean,
have.
I've
like,
recently, because I've been able to work with so many good people and be able to finesse it a little bit, I've been able to compress my equipment down a little bit.
Yeah.
So now I don't have to carry as much heavy equipment. But also, like I said, I've been able to work myself to a point where people know to have certain equipment already ready when they book me.
right.
You know what I mean? Or I'll make sure that I reach out to companies that I know are going to have a full production so that I know that I don't have
Yeah,
so
well, a lot
much
of
to
venues
carry and
these
lug.
days, like even
Yeah.
the hub, we have some backline stuff.
Exactly. Mixer and
right.
speaker already in the space.
Right.
So it's less for me to carry, and then I just have to bring myself.
Thank God.
You know? So it's getting a little easier, you guys. A little, very small amount, but I'm grateful.
So I am grateful for having you here at the hub and, you know, doing all the things that you do for us. And it's no easy task. A lot of people, you know, look and see these things going on from the outside, but they really don't know to the extent of the amount of work that goes into, you know, doing these events, these projects, and
the energy.
And the energy
You know what
it
I mean?
takes. I mean, it's exhausting.
One event can take so much out of me.
Yeah.
And I'm like the queen of putting 4 events in one day because I'm a maniac.
Yeah.
And and I have like a problem with not being able to say no. So I'm like, it's fine. Yeah, I'll be there. You know, and I'm like,
And then afterwards you're thinking, what am I doing?
yeah,
Like,
you know, and I'm like cranky and evil by the end of the day.
But it's all good. It's all
Yeah.
good, and you're doing a
Yeah.
fabulous job, and I look forward to all the things coming up. And I just want you to know, I truly am a fan. And yeah, and hopefully, you know,
Thank you,
you'll get to
Kim.
come back, and we'll do something else. You know,
Yes,
we'll
it
do
was so
something else.
nice to be interviewed and to talk to my friend who makes me so comfortable. This is
Good,
the
good.
best interview I've ever been a part of. You guys, great work. Come and be come
okay.
on the show or do something really good so she can be a fan and you can be on I'm a fan.
Yeah. And until that, we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.